Hello everyone, this is Ashley from the Learning Loft Academy, and today we're going to be going over interrogative pronouns. So, this video is definitely going to require a good understanding of nouns and pronouns, so if you don't know what those are, then please review our respective videos for those. So, when you first hear the word interrogative, it sounds like a big word. It's like, oh no. But you have to think about, what does the word look like? What does it look like it would involve? Interrogative. Well, it looks a lot like the word interrogate, doesn't it? So, that's going to be a good indication right there that these are going to be pronouns that involve interrogation, and that is true. So, there are only 5 of them. They are who, whom, whose, what, and which. There are only 5 of them, so there is a term for a group of only 5 words, and it's just these words. And what, which, and whose can actually be their own little group called interrogative determiners, which modify nouns. So, but that's not very important. The purpose of these words, of these question words, is to ask questions that get a noun in response. So you notice that all of these start with WH. They all do. And so you might come to the assumption that, well, if I see a word that starts with a WH, then it's an interrogative pronoun. So that would include when, why, where, and the how, which is pretty much an honorable WH word. The problem is these are not interrogative pronouns. These 4 words are their own special category called interrogative adverbs. We are not going over what these 4 words are in this video. They have functions that are very similar to these, but the difference is that they require responses that can serve as adverbs. So we're not going to be going over what these are right now, because that's probably a little bit much for one video. But keep in mind, I just brought that up because I want you to keep in mind that just because you see a word that starts with WH does not mean that it's going to be an interrogative pronoun. Just these 5. So, what exactly does it mean that you get a noun in response? Okay, so let's just look at an example sentence. We're going to start with who, because it's the first one that I've listed. The order doesn't matter, but it's the first one I've listed. Who is that? Who is that? So, if you were at some kind of social gathering and you saw a stranger, you didn't know them, and you asked the person next to you, who is that? What kind of response do you think you're going to get? You would be expecting a name, wouldn't you? Right? You might be expecting a name, or maybe the other person doesn't know, but they might guess. They might say, I think that's the teacher. Or they might say, that's my brother. Point is, you're getting a noun in the response. Then the response is going to have a noun in it. If they just looked at you and said, quickly, you'd be like, what? That's not really an answer. See, this is an adverb. Or they might say, from. You would think they lost their mind. From is not a noun. It's a preposition. That's not what you would be expecting. You're expecting a noun. Right? So, what if the question was slightly modified and it was, what is that? Again, you're expecting a noun. Someone might say, that's a car. Or that's a, I don't know, house. Maybe you just really don't know what basic objects are. Point is, you're expecting a noun in response. You are not expecting any other part of speech. Now, a little exception to this is that a pronoun can serve as a response. So if we went back to our original who is that? You could say that's her. You know, that is her. Alright. Or, like the question, who is this? And you should say, this is he, or this is she. Again, you are getting a pronoun in response, but a pronoun is just a subclass of noun, because what does a pronoun do? It can stand in for a noun. We cover that in our pronoun video. It can stand in for a noun. So, for any question that involves these words, you should be getting a noun or at least a pronoun in response. Alright. And we also have who. Whom and whom is a word that traditionally causes some confusion because people don't know when to use whom versus who, and I will probably make a little video just dedicated to that. But it's quite simple. It's just who is what you use as a subject, and whom is for object. And you might say, wait, I don't know what those are. I cover subjective and objective pronouns, again, in our pronoun video. But you can just tell by these words. What do you think these words mean? Subject. I, object, me. Right. So, for who, again, you might say, who is that? Because you are expecting a subject. Right? That is Mary. Right? Or, this is she. Right? That's actually why when you say, who is this, you're supposed to say, or if someone says, is this so-and-so, you're supposed to say, yes, this is he, or this is she, because you are actually using that pronoun in the subjective, rather than the objective. Does it matter in conversational speech? No, it doesn't. That's why people don't know the difference. That's why people don't know the difference, is because that difference is never noted. People just use who by default. But you would say, for whom, you might have a preposition in front of it. To whom, right? A lot of people will just drop that preposition. So if we had, you know, whom is this for? You should technically have to, a preposition in front of that, but a lot of people drop that. That's the thing about conversation, is people are quite lazy when it comes to conversational speech. So they just drop the to and they say, whom is this for? And then, of course, we also just drop the M and we say, who is this for? Even though that's not technically right. So you would respond to the sentence with, this is for so-and-so. Something is being done for someone else, so it should be in the objective, and that's why you should use whom. People don't do that. Alright. So you just need to keep in mind that when you see these 5 words, you should be getting a noun in response. Alright, now let's do another example sentence. Whose is that? Alright, and what kind of answer do you think you're going to get? That is so-and-so's. We'll just use Mary again. That is Mary's. Right? You're expecting a noun or pronoun. That is hers. Notice it's the possessive here. So, you're expecting a noun or a pronoun in response. We've already covered what is that. So, which is that? Notice you can put is that in front of all of these. Who is that? Whom is that for? Whose is that? What is that? Which is that? You can put this phrase in front of all of these words. Which is that? That is this one, right? That is this one. referring, of course, to a noun. We might be looking at two different cars. We might be looking at two different jackets. We're talking about a noun. Alright, so that is going to be it for this video, because I'm not going to include interrogative adverbs in this video, but I will have them in another video on their own, and I'll probably bring these up into it. So watch that video if you would like to know more about those. And again, you're going to want to review a noun or pronoun video, or just be familiar with those parts of speech already in order to understand what these words are, because that's what they're used for. So that's going to be it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.